developer of QuestLord. He created it using Corona SDK. Eric has, 23 years worth of...
25.
25 now, years worth of game development experience. When did you start?
Professionally.
When did you start?
Professionally?
No, just game.
Started when I was 8.
When you were 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 1980.
And when did that start professionally?
When I was 16, I got my first contract from Starsoft Laboratories.
Okay.
I have a very colorful history. I don't know if you guys are familiar with coin-op games like Williams Bally Midway. But that's kind of when I started, like, really professionally. Because at first, professionally, I was on the Atari ST. And then moved from the Atari ST to coin-op after I saw the demo for the Van Damme game, which later became Mortal Kombat. And that was up in Chicago. And that's how so I started I started Williams Bally Midway right when Mortal Kombat 1 was released. It was a very exciting time, and I was like artist number 13.
Very
It's
good.
kind of like, I'm an old guy. And
We had Eric on Corona Geek, which we host every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific time as a live Google Hangout, and his enthusiasm for the topic of game design and development was just infectious. I mean, just bubbling with enthusiasm, lots of great information, and that sort of thing. So I knew that when the last time we had everybody together, everybody was kind of interested in knowing a lot more about how to market your game, how to design your game, and that sort of thing. And so we asked Eric to come up from Houston to join us, and so he agreed to do that for us. So we really appreciate that.
Thanks for coming out to Corona Geek. My name is Eric Kinkead, and I've been making games for over 25 years. This is my 25th year. I'm very excited. Started in 1988. Released a game called QuestLord, which, as you can see, it's a dungeon crawler game. That's the genre style that it's named after. And a long time ago, I decided that I wanted to make apps, and this is my first app, and the first app I've sold. But luckily, I think something that's different with me is I have a lot of experience. This is my 20th game to market and sell. Either market and sell myself or have someone market and sell for me. So, without further ado, let's get going. And choose your engine. Okay, this is pretty easy. At first, I had no idea what I wanted to do, except I wanted to make apps. Right, so I got involved in looking at every type of engine I could, and the very first thing, of course, was the basic Xcode, and I got a book that was like making apps with Mac or whatever, and I did a Hello World, and after I got through Hello World, I realized that it was really widget based and very application oriented, and I wanted to make games because that's my experience. So I was like, I can't do this. This is boring. So I started looking at other engines and SDKs and such, and I looked at, Game Salad. And this story kind of reminds me of the story of Goldilocks, because Game Salad was just too juvenile for my taste. It wasn't serious enough. And Xcode was just too serious, and so like, I found the happy medium with Corona. It was just right, So it was my porridge, and I just dug into it. And very quickly, I learned from past experience, because I worked on the Genesis 3D engine back in 1998. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that, but it was like an SDK like Corona, except you could make first-person games with it and 3D stuff. And eventually, that company got sold to Wild Tangent. It became Wild Tangent. I wasn't involved. I didn't have any ownership. That's why I drove here in a Toyota. But basically, though, after it was purchased and stuff, through that experience, I learned that community is everything. And I got on the forums. I got into the whole chat IRC channel thing, and that's been huge. So one good thing about Corona is, like with meetings like this, and with the forum, and with the IRC chat channel, there's always someone out there to help you. There's always someone out there who isn't officially with Corona, but has trotted the path that you're now treading. So, and they can kind of help you along. And that's what was really a great thing. And plus Lua, I really fell in love with Lua because I do a lot of, I understand stuff a lot based on tables and strings. And actually I didn't know anything about tables, but I knew about strings and long strings and storing data into strings. And tables were just so far superior. So you got your engine. Next, what kind of game do you want to make? You know, I'm sorry?
Can I ask a quick question about your...
Okay, I kind of want to take questions at the end, but I'll take this one.
No problem. Are you going to talk about like your development, like what do you fire up when you program and stuff like that?
I will at the end. I will
Okay,
at the
cool.
end.
That'd be great.
This is mainly more, what I brought today is mainly more about marketing your app. And you can actually use any kind of system with this. You know, you can use, or any kind of SDK or any kind of game or any kind of actual, even if you're not doing games, even if you're doing business stuff. There's some very crucial things in here that I see people make mistakes on constantly, and it's just like, you know, I've seen some really great games just fall in the face. I mean, stuff that looks like Disney did it, that has been done with Corona, that a lot of people don't even know about it who have Corona. So that's kind of what I wanted to address today, and one of the things is that I want to make clear is a lot of you might have systems that are different that I disagree with. This is how I made QuestLord work. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt, and if you're doing something that I say don't do this, then don't worry about it so much. Okay, and like, because a lot of times I'll say this and I offend people, but I'll get into that later, and it's about game ads. Okay, but first of all, I want to get back to this choose your game. This is one thing that I was doing with QuestLord that was kind of like, I wasn't doing QuestLord, okay? I was looking at the apps thinking, what is popular? What's going to make money? What's big out there? What are people doing? And I was doing my research, and my research gave me happy, friendly, colorful things. You know, like, oh, it's a colorful character and he jumps and he has physics and he bounces and he knocks into stuff. Okay, great. You know, that's what seems to be making a lot of money. Let me try to design something with that. Oh, maybe I'll make something like it's a Tamagotchi pet that you take care of. And, you know, but at that time there wasn't push notifications. This is like in November 2011. So I was like, well, how am I going to notify you that your little baby dragon is grown up and needs food or something? So I was like, I don't know about this. And then like I would stop working and I would go and entertain myself and play these old games like on emulators from like the 80s, right? Like, oh, this is great. I love this game. Oh, I killed some orcs. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, this is great. Then I go back to my idea and my research, and it dawned on me. It's like, well, why am I not making what I enjoy, what I love, what I like to play? Why don't I pursue that and just give up this whole idea of follow the leader and zig when everyone else is zagging and do something that people tell me, yeah, I don't know if that'll work. Because everyone was like, don't make a hardcore game. Don't make a computer type game on a handheld device. No one's going to want to play a computer type game on a handheld device. But I wanted to make one. So that's what I decided on. And that's what, and that's where I was, it was November 2011, and that's what I was doing. I was just headstrong on it. I built the engine, I got it going a little bit. There were some red panels that kind of walked around. My fiance got home from work. I was like, look, and she looked and did not understand it. And like 2 days later, I got some textures on it, and she was like, oh, that looks really neat. So then I had to understand this. This is the next step. Once you start with your game and you're going with your game, you need to identify your target audience. Who is going to play this? And this is the part where you really got to get real with yourself. You really got to understand what you want and what is reality. Because what you want is everybody in the world to play it. You want mothers, you want babies, you want everyone to play it. But that's not really ever going to happen. I mean, it's not. You really got to understand who is going to plunk down the cash for this thing. And mine comes around here around like Francis, somewhere between Francis and old guys. Okay, most of the money is up by the Huxtables, the Huxtable wife. Okay, she's the one who probably has the most money and Bejeweled. If you're making a Bejeweled game, you'd kind of be around here, maybe in the teenage area. And the further you go down with the teens and the babies, the further you get away from the big money bucks, which I wouldn't really call. He's got money, but he's not going to spend it. Okay, he might spend it, but this is where the money is spent in this central location. And if you, and this is really important too, because I see a lot of people that are saying like, I want to get into the children's industry and make educational games for kids. and they make an educational game, and it's great and everything, but they don't know who to market. They're not, I mean, she can't buy an educational game. She can't go out and get an educational game. They need to market to her. That's who they need to market, and that's who they need to get in front of. And that's who they need to really understand and get in front of early. Go on forums of expecting mothers, go on forums of mothers with young kids, go on forums of homeschoolers, huge. There's huge networks of homeschoolers out there. And that kind of stuff is, it's really daunting at first, but it's kind of exciting. And it excites me for some reason. I love the idea of guerrilla marketing. Mainly because for 20-something years I'd work with companies and I'd see them market our products wrong. You know, because a lot of those people are just people coming to work. They weren't like us, you know, living and breathing our product. So basically, if you're gonna market, find out who your target audience is and get in front of it. And get in front of it early and interact with them. Look for the blogs that are popular with whatever it is that you're doing. Like for me, I started joining forums like RPG Watch, DungeonMaster.com, which is a game genre of my game that is nostalgic and still popular. So you really have to know who is going to plunk down the cash. That's super, super important. And that'll keep coming up over and over again. And the next thing is there's this whole huge push to be indie, right? There's this huge thing, it's like, I'm indie. I see kids, they all want to be indie developers, and they push really hard to kind of have like a mystique about them and such like that. And honestly, marketing, I would not focus too much time on the whole indie thing. And you're not really going to get much traction selling your games to other game developers. Every now and then, you'll hear about the runaway breakaway hit that an indie game developer is making, but that's usually because other developers have picked onto it. And you want to go back to this. You want to stop focusing on indie and focus on these people, because those people are the people that are going to plunk down cash. Indie game developers are not going to plunk down cash. I was very fortunate on QuestLord to interact with some indie game developers and some, and it dawned on me real quick that I'm putting my efforts in the wrong market. If you go look up IndieDB, it's like the indie database of games. Everyone who's new, who's got a couple screenshots, will put up a couple of pictures of their game. And they'll be like, oh, I've got this game, and they're hoping that all these other indie guys will be like, oh yeah, he's got this game, this one indie guy's making this game. And they hope to build up word of mouth through indie developers. And that's a real noisy crowd. So to be heard in that crowd is too much energy. Too much energy that you could be spending on your actual product. And actually, like right now, what I'm doing, this is the last step of any type of development. Talking to you guys, because you guys are not my target audience. This is mainly for myself, so I can learn about what I did, so I can wrap it up in outline form, so I can express it. And by doing that, I learn more about myself and what I've done. And I think that a lot of people expect Corona to have some kind of marketing push, but that's all you. It's your job to market your software. And sure, I've seen a lot of people spin their wheels too hard on Game of the Week and Game of the Month. It's a great opportunity. I'm so glad Corona's doing it, but that should be your last step. You should have other forums and blogs directly related to your target audience doing that kind of thing before you have Corona doing it. Does that make sense? Because that's like a very crucial error I see a lot of people doing. And they might mention on their Facebook, they might mention to their friends and family, and then they'll push the Corona Game of the Week, and they really don't get that many hits because all of us are busy making games. I mean, we'll look at it and we'll be like, awesome, Game of the Week, cool, that's a cool game. But the sales aren't there. Just like in this room, I've got maybe one or two guys purchase QuestLord. But so that's kind of an important thing to keep in mind. And then, now this is the part where I might have some, if you're doing ad games, you're doing ad games. But this is based on the experience of QuestLord. Okay, I come from an old school, obviously, because I'm ancient, type of game development where give me your money and here's your product. All right, thank you. And I think that a lot of us have put our heels down and said, no, we're doing that. We don't care. And it's really fun because some of my other developer friends and me, we're really changing what was the system, and we're raising our price. When everyone else is lowering the price down to the dirt, giving their stuff away for free, trying to make ad revenue, trying to make this free kind of thing, we're saying no, what we're going to deliver you is a fun experience. It's going to ignite your nostalgia for what it was like in the 80s to play games, and you're going to give us cash. We're not going to hook up to your wallet with in-app purchasing. We're not going to do any of that stuff. We're just going to give you a fun game, thanks. And we might have a sale coming up. Who knows? You know, and we stay high priced. And you see a lot of games now that are starting to do that. And I'm really proud of the other developers that are actually doing that, because it's a very hard thing to do. It's really hard to do. But I want to warn everyone who does ads, you're not going to be like QuestLord. You're not going to get a Touch Arcade write-up. You're not going to get a Pocket Gamer write-up if you're flashing a ton of ads for other products that the player accidentally hits, that takes them from their gaming experience into some other completely different what is this kind of thing, right? You might be able to save some of your work that you've done on making apps. You know, if you're making apps and like you release it and you haven't had any revenue and you're wondering, what am I going to do? I'm wasting my time. You know, my game is not really getting any press. Then, you know, ads might be for you. There might be a way to, you know, get some more resources and get some more revenue. But what you have to understand is with your account, with your mobile account, you now have a product that releases ads, and that's going to look not so great. I mean, how many times if, you know, you're watching a major movie in a theater, like last night I watched the new Star Trek, and if they had like ads popping up constantly, you know, customers don't like it. They just don't. So that's my take on ads with my experience with QuestLord. And make steady progress while developing your game, because it is a marathon, it's not a race. It's not a sprint. Well, it's a race, but it's not a sprint. So take your time. Don't think that you need to get done soon, or you need to get done super fast. It's kind of one thing, I think someone's at the door. It's kind of one thing that I think that a lot of people get into is they want to make a game as fast as possible. And I understand that, and I understand like the revenue, you want to turn it around. You want to get a lot of games into your system so you can actually start seeing revenue. But take your time with it. You know, take your time and put in a lot of work to actually make it. Don't worry if you miss like deadlines and such, because everyone misses deadlines. And then document your progress. This is really important. It's really super important. When you document your progress, you are teaching yourself more than you are teaching other people. You know, it's just like me with this presentation I'm doing. I put it in outline form of everything that I believe, all my theories, all my thoughts, and now I understand myself better by getting it organized to give to you guys, so y'all can see where I'm coming from. And by all means, this is not law. None of this is law. Just take what you want out of it. But with a blog, I created a blog, and I'm going to show you the blog real quick, actually. I think that would be a good thing to do. So, let's see. blogspot.lavalevel.com. And while that loads, one thing I was able to do with creating my blog was to learn about how I actually started the entire process and get all the way to the end. And as you can see right here, everything points to one another. Everything points to, and I've got like everything that happened, the blog, and I got some personal things. This was a really funny one. It was about my chair, because for the longest time I was sitting in this plastic chair, and finally I had to make an expenditure. So I had to get rid of an employee, and I kind of set it up. And at this point, I actually had followers. You know, I had and I had like a little audience at this point. So when I released the information that, you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. There's been some major changes with QuestLord. I had like 140 blog hits of, oh, I can't believe it. This is just a gag. But it was fun because I was able to kind of play off the people that were following the game, and they saw on Twitter that there was major changes with QuestLord. Like, well, is it going to come out or not? And they were able to go to my blog and read more information, which I thought was pretty fun. So with a blog, you can also promote your product. You can promote what you're doing and yourself. And with a blog, you can also always hide a blog thing if you go back and be like, oh, that was too personal. You know, I wrote about my vacation with my fiance, which I did, but it wasn't that personal. So it's always good to have one. Because I mean, like, if you look at that blog and go all the way back to the beginning of my blog, and if you go to QuestLord.com, you can see the blog. And I think that's coming up in the next frame, I hope. But if you go all the way back to the beginning of the blog, you'll see how dumbfounded I was when I started. You'll see how like I was just like, what am I gonna do? And I was really kind of angry a little bit at the industry, you know, because I've been in it for so long, and it is just impossible to get a job, even with 25 years experience and working on major games. You know, it's just impossible. There is no more industry. So, with that happy thought, make a promotional video. This is huge, 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 huge. You must make a promotional video for your work. You must, I don't know about must, but I had so much success with my promotional videos, so much success with it. And once again, I'm gonna go to the internets real quick and show my my video here. Let's see. So, if you go to QuestLord.com, you can see my video. With a video, you can really let the player know what it is that's going to happen. And if you go to my video, I actually have two videos because I wanted to kind of make a... Oh. Yeah, there's no Flash player. Well, I'll show my video afterwards, I guess, after we get a Flash player. But... it was a YouTube video and it's got 50,000 hits. That's kind of the most important part that I'm getting at. My video has 50,000 hits. And that's a lot of people putting eyes on my product. And the return rate was really good on that. I mean, super good, over half. So it was really something that like helped me out a lot and that I could use as a calling card. And not only could I use it as a calling card, but other people could use it as a calling card as well. Blog sites and other sites like that, they love videos. They love being able to, oh cool, he's got a video, good, link. You know, sometimes I don't even look at the whole video. But keep your video short, super short, like maybe a minute. Do not have long titles. Don't have, no one cares. No one cares if you're so-and-so studio presents. You know, no one cares about that. My video just goes boom, and you're in the game. And it's got this crazy music and all this other stuff, and we'll get it showing pretty soon. So, with that, prepare to show your project. After you've got like some kind of video, prepare to show it at all times. You've got some new cool art assets. Put them aside, you know, in a little screenshot format. Maybe put a little copyright thing on it. Hashtag Screenshot Saturday. That's a good one if you're writing that down. Hashtag Screenshot Saturday is a group of people every Saturday that show what they're doing. And they're really super open about it. Notch has shown images on there that are just, I mean, you can look up Notch's, and it's just like, what was that game he was working on? And basically, it's like a lot of the underground indie developers will tweet a picture, put a picture up with hashtag Screenshot Saturday, and there's a screenshotsaturday.com. It's got every Saturday picture listed, and you can see what everyone's doing. And it's really inspiring, it's really good, and it gets your stuff out there. Have a Twitter account, of course. Now, you can have your own Twitter account, or you can have a personal Twitter account. You can have Wait, that's the same thing, your own Twitter account and personal account. Okay, you can have your own personal account, or you can have like a company landing page account, or you can have a game account. With me, I just have my own personal account. Because somewhere along the line, I guess the whole idea of being an indie developer was more important than being a corporation developer. So I kind of dropped a lava level, you know, and the whole charade of it's me and my studio, and just adopted, it's just me. You know, which I feel so much more comfortable with because it's not the first time, it's just been me. So I use my own account and I tweet out stuff. I join other developers that are like me, and when they have announcements, I tweet their stuff. And then they're like, whoa, so-and-so tweeted me. And I put the @ such and such, whoever it is that I'm tweeting. And sometimes I get a personal message back, sometimes I get a tweet message back. Hey, thanks for sharing that. Because I'm sharing their stuff to my users. And vice versa. And they appreciate that. And if you do that, it comes back to you. And when you post something, hey, I got a new screenshot, something, they'll take your tweet and they'll retweet it because you've done it for them. And you can find developers really easy. You know, it's not too hard to find Twitter developers. And all of this is another job. All of this marketing stuff is another job that will keep you up at night. But for some reason, I enjoy it. I love the whole guerrilla marketing aspect. I feel like I'm super sleuthing something. Or get a Facebook page for your game. That's kind of important. And I kind of learned that late. I only have like 350 something followers on my Facebook page for my game, which a lot of people would be like, oh, that's really good. But I missed a big opportunity to have a lot more. I mean, like maybe 700, 800 people. So get one early for your game, have your friends join it, have your friends share it, get your friends to get active in sharing the stuff. But eventually good for your friends. Your friends are going to be happy that you're not going to have to rely on them forever. Because friends, family, and other developers are nice, but they're not going to pay your bills. You gotta move on with that stuff. So with screenshots, get a website. Like you guys saw my website, super crucial. I wasn't even here, but I was here because my website was here, and all my stuff links up. All of my stuff links up. Even though Flash doesn't work, let me jump in here real quick and show you something else that doesn't work. Okay, so QuestLord.com. Now, all of my sites link up. Like if they link up with like the dev blog is right there. Okay, my Facebook page is right there. My Twitter is somewhere in Spinland. Okay, while that's spinning, I will go. There we are. So there I am in Twitter. Hey, there's Charles. What do you know? Headed to Dallas, such and such. I retweeted what he said. And you can also like show screenshots and stuff and show what you're doing. And here is where I was hanging out with the great Steve Jackson. I don't know if you guys know of his games, but he's like he made Munchkin and a bunch of other games. And if I go to features down here, it's kind of embarrassed. I put myself here. I've got my own page, and this shouldn't work because Flash does work. Okay, this is my portfolio site in Flash, which is, you know, it's got QuestLord scribbled on the wall. This is for Halloween. I stopped updating this when I got too busy. But this goes also to my blog, okay, and to my YouTube. And since browse videos, since this is actually going, we're going to show it. Now, I don't know if it's got sound. Here's my video if you guys want to see it. It's really simple. Game's playing, some stats, but it's already going. You know what I mean? There's no wasting time. There's no like so-and-so presents. Because I'm a nobody. This is my first game on mobile. You know, no one cares who I am. No one wants to know who I am. You guys don't know what I'm talking about right now. You just want to see this. And you can see it's early. The font is not even really defined. It's just the basic default font. It's not that way anymore. There was a quest that was told that was not even in the game. And that lightning bolt's old. But it gets right to the point. And I updated when it was actually coming out, put it over the actual day because I slipped, which was kind of exciting and fun. And that goes back to the video section, but it's also kind of tied into this section. And you can see I've got 53,000 hits right here. It's huge, huge. I've got 55 likes and 1 dislike. So, you know, it worked out really well when I made that, that demo. And I'm going to try to find the PDF again.
Did you make that demo yourself, or did you have somebody do it for you?
I made it myself with Camtasia, and it did not take me long at all. I'm going to try to reload my PowerPoint and get back on track. Sorry, my ADD got the best of me. Here we are. Okay, so that goes hand in hand with this. But I like to have the video kind of done and out of the way. As soon as you get your game working, you get some good artwork going, your friends and family are like, whoa, that looks great, it looks professional. It probably won't look professional because they're your friends and family. But if you can get some workable, maneuverable stuff, like that was actually screenshot stuff and me kind of scrolling around and moving around in my world, you know, in my game. But I just chopped it up, put it all together. Some of it, like if you turned left or right, you'd see nothing in the world because I was like, you know, oh, let me just create this stuff real quick for the video. But it totally embodied what the game is like, and so it was ready to go. And so with that, I contacted the press. I made my announcement. I made my big, hello, I'm here. And what I did is I took all the data that I had done from this. And this was a long time, a long period of data. I mean, this started November 11th of, I'm sorry, November 2011. My announcement was on July 6th, day after 4th of July stuff. And it was like, everything was dead. People were coming back. It was perfect time, actually. People were coming back from vacation. The press had nothing, and I gave them something, and it really caught. And what I did with that data is all the forums, all the blog sites, all the game sites I'd go to. If you go to a game site like Touch Arcade, you can find out how to contact the guys. It's super easy. Go down and you'll see like about, you know, the little text that you never really read. It's always like in the bottom or something. There's like a tips at Touch Arcade. You can email that. Okay, they have a forum. You know, they're so accessible. The guys are so accessible. And then they even have a page that has their UID device numbers. You know, so you can do a build for the guys. And these guys want to be contacted with you. It's how they make money. They want you to contact them. And a lot of people, they just don't know what to do. It does seem overwhelming, and it is a second job. I mean, it's like I had this full-time job, and then I had of making the game, and then I had this like part-time squeeze in a full-time job of marketing. And you just have to do it. There's really no other choice. So what I did is I let everyone know, and I launched it, and my DreamHost went down, and that was really kind of sad. So I launched it on a Thursday. Thursday night, DreamHost said such and such servers are down for 7 hours or whatever. Oh, whatever, you know. So it's kind of out there. And I'd send all the emails out. I made a message and it was short and sweet. Keep it short, sweet. Don't talk much. Just, you know, this is your chance to get in front of someone who has to see a lot of people. And you just want to be like, hi, how you doing? Here's a video link. Here's some web information. And have your blurb ready. That's super important. You need to be able to, in one sentence, you know, completely communicate to someone what your game is.
Does this have reviewers as well, or are you talking, I mean, or did you do that earlier?
I'm sorry?
Is that like reviewers, or is that an earlier stage when you're talking about the press?
Oh, this is a later stage. When I first, but I started tallying them. I made a list, an Excel spreadsheet of people. And that was actually That was actually, I'm gonna leave that there so I don't have to do that again. Here we go. That was actually right here, way back here when I first started. So right here, it's like, what kind of game do you want to make? Okay, now identify your target audience. Okay, now this identification process should go on forever. But it's just start immediately. It's super important. Okay, I know little babies and little kids aren't going to be interested in my game. So I target dungeonmaster.com, computer role-playing game sites, retro role-playing game sites, old dudes who love playing games and killing dragons. That's my audience, you know? That's the kind of guys that like QuestLord. You know, guys like me that are in their 40s and 50s who grew up in the 80s playing these awesome games. You know, those are the guys that are going to be like, they're excited. You know, they're going to get excited. Like, I can carry this around on my phone, and it's clunky, just like those 1980 games. I love it. You know, I knew that I had a spark with those guys, so that's who I would target. But with Touch Arcade, it was kind of an obvious thing, you know. And PocketGamer.uk, huge. You got to go through those guys. I mean, those are the big players. 148 apps, you know, big players, big players. And so you've got to write down their tips, their stuff like that. So basically, though, 6 months later, the game is being developed. And that's what this is all about, because you got to keep developing your game, you know. But don't worry, it's not a sprint. So when you get to the press right here, basically it was a 4-year consideration in the subject line. You know, short and sweet, so they know that this is just, you know, 4-year considerations. That immediately they know what I'm about. They immediately know what the whole thing's about. Not the best new game coming out with blah. You know, you're getting right in front of someone. You only got one chance to be really, you know, concise. Up here, a new turn-based role-playing game in the classic style of the legendary computer role-playing games that defined the genre. That's my blurb. And I still don't even have it memorized. But it's an important blurb, and I understand the gist of it. But one day I sat it out and I wrote it nicely. And that became the blurb. Because it answers all the questions. You know, it's a computer it's in the style of the old computer role-playing games. And it's a new vintage game. It's an old-looking game, but it's a new game. And that pretty much sums it up. And so I had that blurb in my actual, for a 4-year consideration. Because you read that, you know what it's all about. And then I had a link to I had a video. It said video, had a link to my video site, and then a link to my screenshots. Okay, now, so that's pretty much that. Let's see, how are we doing on time here? Okay, I'm going over. So I hit the lottery. That Saturday, I did a Reddit, and I never did a Reddit before. Still don't know it, still don't understand it.
I just want to throw in, I understand that you guys, it's a weekend and all this stuff like that, so if you need to go at any point, nobody's going to think anything. We appreciate you coming. We have the room for the day, okay? So, Eric, don't feel rushed.
Okay.
You know, just as long as it takes to tell the story. Hopefully we'll get to maybe some development stuff or whatnot, I don't know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But we can take a break in the middle at some point and, you know, kind of.
Okay, we're just about at launch.
Yeah. So I'm just letting everybody know,
Okay.
that in case they're wondering, we don't have a too big a time frame. I put an agenda of 2 hours just to kind of frame it, but.
Okay, nice, I like that. Okay, so that gives me more time on the media contact. So that Saturday I woke up and I was like, 168 hits to the website QuestLord, because that was the whole thing. I wanted to drive everyone to my main portal, QuestLord. And you can tell it's a portal, right? And you can see with my portfolio page, that's a portal too, okay? It's got like all the links under it that link back to my blog, that link to my Facebook, that link to the other stuff. And this is another important thing, guys. You got to decide what you want to do, okay? This is so sad. I know so many developers, okay, that take it upon themselves to use their Facebook to vent and explain their position on religion and politics. And you got to understand that, like, Facebook for me is a tool. It's a tool to get to my audience, okay? I call my mother. I don't need to Facebook my mom. I don't need to tell everyone who I'm voting for, because if you look at the voting situation, it's like half the country. So if someone doesn't like who you vote for, they might not like your product, and there you've alienated half the country. Religion's a very personal subject, so I leave that for people's personal beliefs, and I think it should be. So if you're gonna make your social networks about your game and your craft and and what you're doing. Don't really try to, I don't know, it's up to you. I know some people, they disagree with me. They're like, this is America, I can do what I want. Of course you can, of course you can. But everyone might want to consider not alienating potential customers and being all-inclusive because it's better for your wallet. And it's just better presentation. So with my Facebook, with my Google, I keep it very, very game-orientated, very developer-orientated, very this is what I'm doing kind of thing. With my blog, everything for me is spot on work because this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I do. So that is very important with your website, Twitter, Facebook, and such like that, okay? Because you want people to think of your Facebook, Twitter, and such as, well, that's where I go to find out about that cool game. Not, that's where I go to get too much personal information about this person where I might not like them. Okay, so with the press, skip all that stuff. I just want to throw that in there real quick since I have time. With the press, basically, it was kind of dismal, right? 168 people, which is kind of good. It's kind of good. But I got on Reddit. I've never used Reddit, and I still hate it. I know I shouldn't have said that. Totally Reddit jammed. But the only reason I hate it is because my own ignorance towards it, because I have no idea how it works. There's some kind of gatekeeper that lets you in, that doesn't let you in. Well, one of my Reddits about QuestLord got through. And on Saturday, I had like 900 hits. And I was really excited. And Sunday, I had like 23. So Reddit's really good. You can use it if you can understand it. I don't. But I was able to get something up. I don't know, is there a lot of Reddit users here? You're a Reddit user?
Yeah.
Or you're gold?
Well,
Because-
one thing I've been meaning to ask you is you've kind of talked a lot about like reaching out to other developers and stuff like that on Twitter. But did you ever maybe reach out to like a famous YouTuber and ask them to play your game?
That I've not done, but it's happened.
Well, it's irrelevant. I have a buddy who he's not a developer.
Right.
But he works in enterprise software, and he bought. You know how you can go to like I think it's called like App City or something like that. You can buy apps that are already made.
Right.
And one popular thing right now has been taking pictures from camera, smashing them together, making a 4-panel picture and posting on Instagram. It's
Right.
super simple. He bought it for $2,000, and he paid a bunch of Instagram users like $30 a pop to tweet it.
Oh, awesome.
And these Twitter users had lots of followers.
Right.
He made $20,000 in 2 weeks.
Sweet. So we'll get back into that in a second when I have questions. So the press stuff really didn't kick in until Monday. I did the Reddit thing, and I got like 900 hits, and then that Sunday I got like 20, 30 something hits. But then that Monday I was contacted through someone on the IRC channel about Touch Arcade, because apparently I made the front page. So my submission on Thursday got picked up. And once it got picked up by Touch Arcade, everything else fell. Everything else fell. Pocket Gamer, 148 apps, Jay's Games, I mean, you name it, it started going down. Everyone started covering QuestLord's announcement. And that's when I realized that I'd hit the spark. And now there's some, that doesn't happen to everyone, okay? That's what we call winning the lottery. But there was a lot of things that I did to make that happen. There was a lot of preparation and push that I did to make that happen. And I believe that if I did not hit that lottery, that I would still get, I still would have had so much data. And if I kept pushing and pushing and pushing on going to forums and going to these blogs, eventually it would have fallen, and it would have gotten the press. But I got lucky, and there was someone who really liked it at Touch Arcade, who liked my announcement, which was the video and the other stuff. So then, after that, there was a long period of game development. And I don't know if you guys ever read the thing about the guy who gets tons of hits. and then doesn't get very many hits like the next day, the feeling of ugh, because you spike, and then like after a while the tail was kind of, but there was things that I did during that period of time to keep it going. For $99, I got a bunch of buttons and pins made of the little icons of my game, like like little. I think the root beer was really popular with the guys that like to drink beer, even though it's root beer. And I made it root beer because I was actually really concerned about the alcohol and tobacco use on iPhone. But anyway, so I got the and the sword and the shield, and I got these little buttons made, and this is when I realized how bad I'd messed up for not having my Facebook page ready, for not having my MailChimp signing thing ready before I did the Touch Arcade and before I did the Reddit, because I could have had like way more followers and people signed up. So I came late to the party, but I came up with an idea to, if you sign up, I'll randomly pick some people to win pins and win stuff like that, to get actual physical goods that I'll mail them. And it was really good. I got like about 600-700 people signing up for my MailChimp, which I thought was great. And I got the 350 for the Facebook. So with that, it's super important to finish. No matter how bad the announcement goes, no matter, with all the data that you've collected at this point, with all the data that you've collected of how much interest there's going to be, how much people you think are going to purchase it, this is the time when you scale down. You scale down or you scale up. In my case, I had to scale up because the expectations were on me. So I pushed my date way back for finishing it. And I told my fiance to buckle up because it's going to get rough. And basically, I worked on it constantly, every day. But if I was in the position where there was not that much interest, I don't know if I would scale down, but I definitely wouldn't scale up. But I would get it done, because getting something done and getting something finished and having this legacy of I started something, or I don't know what to start. I started something. Oh, here I'm doing this, and then I've done it, and then I've released it. That is so important, and it shows a sense of I don't know what you'd say, trust in your development, and you'll also get a huge accomplishing feeling. And then have realistic, low expectations. Have low expectations. Don't think you're going to sell much, because you're not. That's just my belief. It's my thing, and I don't know what that comes from. I mean, like in the old days at Williams Valley Midway, we used to test our games by wheeling the arcade games into an arcade, sitting back and watching how many kids came up and played it, cursed at it, didn't play it, stopped playing it. And so like I think that I've been through like the most brutal types of disappointment in the industry that some people probably can't even fathom. I mean, like I worked on Judge Dredd, the arcade game. There was 8 of them made, and the whole project canceled. And that's way more rough than, they canceled my project that I was working on. It was going to come out as a box. I mean, this thing was a beautiful cabinet, finished game. But anyway, so keep your expectations low, and give yourself room for failure. Give yourself room to not be great, to not be the best, to not be something that's a bazillion seller, because that's going to make it a lot easier for you, both directions. It's going to make it easier for you when you don't sell that much and you're not doing that good, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you when you're doing awesome. It's just going to make that much more rosier. My expectation, I told everyone in the forum, was like I was going to make $100. $100. 12 months, $100. In my heart of hearts, I was just hoping to make a couple grand. Just hoping to make a couple grand. And it turned out much better than that. So during the launch, the reason I say my game took 13 months is because I launched it month 13. Month 13 is when I actually launched it, and that was so much work. There was so much work. Some interesting stories, like real quick, I put in all my builds, and then Google Play was last. So I put in Google Play, and then didn't realize it, but there's only a 2-hour waiting period for Google Play.
Yeah.
So it went live, and then I don't know if anyone knows Ray, Stinky Kitty Software, really funny guy. He actually made the shirts. Did he not? No, he made the shirts. Yeah, for Corona Geek. He's a really involved guy in the whole community and stuff. But he got too excited and started tweeting to everybody, "QuestLord is out!" And I was just like, "Oh my god!" And all my fans are like, "QuestLord's out? What? QuestLord's out?" And it's like, no, it's going to be another week before it comes out in these other markets. And so I was like, damn the torpedoes, let's go. QuestLord's out, QuestLord's out. It was Sunday. It was like Sunday night, you know, and I forgot what was going on. It was like Super Bowl. Super Bowl was going on. Right? It's Sunday night Super Bowl. Like people are going to be on their computers looking for a role play game, right? Really? So then like, you know, the next day it was like, oh, sold 60. Okay, you know. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to soft launch this and not really talk about it. You know, and some of my friends, some are here in town, like George Broussard, 3D Realms, Duke Nukem and stuff, he tweeted, "Hey, QuestLord's out. It's cool, go get it, my buddy made it." And I was just kind of really embarrassed. I had all these game industry guys looking at me, you know, like, and there wasn't really, it didn't seem like there was much traction. You know, and then like the next day it was 120. And then the next day someone was like, "Hey, look, Android Life put up this, you know, review." Really, Android Life? And then one of my friends did Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, great!" And I had another Reddit kind of bump, and you know, by the end of the week, it had made $1,000, and I was like super pumped and super excited. And then, but the thing that was really crazy is that I had a huge forum base of iOS guys who were waiting for this game and waiting for a long time, and that was driving them into a frenzy that the game was out on Android, but it wasn't out on iOS. And Touch Arcade has an app on their thing which alerts them as to who's buying what. It's really crazy. And Friday night it got launched at I think 6:30 Central Time, and their app went ballistic, and I was #1 on it. The review guys completely didn't even know that I existed. They saw it come out, and they were just like, "What? I can't believe it's out, it's out." Meanwhile, while all this craziness is going on and like Touch Arcade's exploding, this guy from China contacts me. And he's all like, "I love your game and stuff, but here's some serious bugs. You know, look at this one part of the world, there's just like a hole in the universe, and you can step out of it and the game locks up." And I was like, "Oh my god." So I had to make a patch, you know, that said, "Hey, do you have a game going? Okay, we'll change this XY coordinate of this map to actually be a wall instead of such and such, and move the player back 3, you know." And then I filed with Apple. You get one, what is it called? Expedited review period. You can request an expedited review, and they'll hurry up. But they're closed on the weekends. But luckily, this hole in the universe was way over in the world of NORAD, which you got to be like level 7 or 8 to get to. So I knew I had some like time, you know. So I took my time, programmed it. My numbers came in for Saturday, and I couldn't do anything. You know, me and my fiance were just jumping up and down for joy. We were so happy. You know, there was tears because it was like so long a period of unemployment, no money, and you know, me being like, "I can do this. I've done it before. This is my 20th game." And so then Sunday, woke up, wrote the patch, submitted it to Apple. Monday, Apple had the new 1.1 ready. And they said, "We accept your request," and such and such and such and such. And also, just like the other things, real short and sweet. I was like, "My game is #4 RPG in America. I need an expedited request quick." But actually, it got up to #3. I didn't realize that until later. I went back and looked at the data, but it only made it to #3 RPG in North America for like about 4 or 5 hours. That was a lucrative 4 or 5 hours. But basically, the whole thing that I'm getting to with this slide is you are still knee deep in development poop when you release, and you should be. You should. It's a good sign. It's a good sign if you're panicking, you're busy, you're fixing your mistakes, you're interacting with people that are like, "I don't understand it. I die and I go back to this shrine all the time." It's like, well, you got to find a new shrine and drop a food item. you know, and you interacting with people on Twitter about that stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, the guy in the tavern told you that. Oh, I missed the guy in the tavern. You know, have little conversations with people and start to network and stuff. It's super, super duper important. Get on the forums, follow through with the people, thank everyone who's bought it. Everyone. I mean, I can't go into a store now without seeing something that costs like, $1.99 and being like, oh, this is because someone bought my game, I'm able to purchase this. It's just a weird feeling. It's just a really weird feeling. So, might be all. No, here we are. Sustain the life of your project. This is the last of it, and then I'll be ready for questions and everything else. And I'll even get into some of the technical stuff about QuestLord if you wish. But this is what separates the Colossus Titans from just software releases. Okay. Basically, the longer you love and treat your intellectual property or your brand, the more it'll grow. The more growth you give to it, and the more you'll always have something you can look back at and be like, this is mine. This is my baby. This is my little project. I can make a sequel to it. I can make spin-off stories with it. I can grow it and I can nurture it. And when you do that, you collect a fan base, and having a fan base is the most fantastic thing because they are like little game evangelists for you, and they will go out and get other people interested in it, who get other people interested in it. And if you keep it going, you can really create something that's just bigger than just an app to make money. And this is another reason why I'm not into ads, because ads corrupt this whole system to me. They break it. They pull you out of the moment. And these are my heroes, of course. So their intellectual properties they've created are obviously huge and something to strive for. And it'll actually give you more life with your project. And I've created IPs before, but it was so long ago, because for so long in the industry I've had to do other people's stuff. And this is why I actually enjoy the collapse of the video game industry. And I enjoy the collapse of the corporate structure of it. Because for the longest time I've been doing Scooby-Doo licenses, because that's where the money was. And I'd make an original title in Game Boy Advance, show it to Nintendo, or North America Nintendo, and they really didn't care. They're like, oh great, go find a publisher. You go to a publisher and a publisher's like, yeah, but if we spend $1.2 million on Scooby-Doo license, we've already got that $1.2 million back. So we bought the Scooby-Doo license. Do you want to do it? If not, we'll give it to these guys in Russia for 60 grand. So it was really heartbreaking, working through that whole system. And I'm really kind of glad that now there is this system where you can self-publish. I think it's very liberating. It's very empowering. And that, I believe, is my take on how to market your app. Yep. So thank you very much. And that's it.